Hello. Hello Christelle.
Hello.
Hello chat. Welcome to this new stream. We haven't done a stream in a while, and we decided to do this one on the use of Discord. So maybe we're gonna introduce ourselves once again. Christelle, do you want to start?
Yes, with pleasure. So I'm Christelle. I'm the marketing and live ops director at the studio. So I take care of everything event, marketing, the game, communication, even though you're the one responsible for most of it, and a bit of live ops. So how to continue to support the game, even though it was launched 1 year ago. Yeah, and that's about it.
So all the fun stuff.
Yes.
And I'm Juliette. I'm the social media manager, so I take care of the social media strategy and also like community management, talking with the community, helping, trying to do fun stuff on Twitter or TikTok sometimes. We should be more present on TikTok. We need a strategy on TikTok, but that's a chat for another stream. So we've been doing these kind of chats with the devs to talk about like kind of a post-mortem on the game that we did that's called bloomingbusinessgames, and that's also the name of the Twitch channel. Also talking about like life of the studio and so on, and today we wanted to talk about Discord because that's a very, very big platform for indie devs, because that's the platform where you can like communicate, market, and most of all talk with the community. So we're gonna start by maybe doing a quick overview of our Discord.
Yeah.
Sure,
let's go.
So you started the Discord before I got at homoludens, and it started around the game, so it was like a Blooming Business Casino Discord. But now that the game is out, we're gonna do other games, hopefully. So we want to have like a homoludensgames Discord that's gonna be like centered. All channels are gonna be about different games. But for now, we only have the one game. So what was your strategy when you started the Discord? Did you like, how did you do?
Well, it was I think the first time for me to create my own Discord server. So I just kind of knew that we had to have a Discord server to engage with the community and maybe have a separate communication channel to talk about different type of things, to have a kind of a intimate and private discussion with kind of a small part of the community that is more engaged and that wants to talk with us, the devs, and maybe you want to enter into a bit more detail about the game development and what will be the game at the end. So I knew we had to do that. I didn't know at the time if we had to create this Discord right from the beginning, meaning when we announced the game for the first time or not. But looking at the competition, and maybe you will talk about it later on, I thought it was a good idea to create this earlier on so that we could experiment and improve on it, and well, try to see if it works for us. So I created the Discord server, I think, right at the announcement of the game. So it was a long time ago. I think it was April 2021.
Yeah, I joined in like May of 2021. So
yeah, so something like that. I think I created. I opened it to the public, let's say, at this time.
Okay.
And how I built it, I think I just join dev community on Discord and elsewhere as well, and looked at what they said about Discord at the time, and if they also use templates or recommendation tools or things like that. And that I kind of use a template that I modified to fit kind of our needs and the life cycle of the game. And then we iterated on it. Even now, we continue to do so.
Yeah, I remember when I joined that Discord was pretty active. It was pretty active for a while, and then it started getting less active. I think. Well, that's something that we can discuss later on. But I think we maybe started it too soon, and people kind of got bored. Because we started the Discord in 2021. And the game came out in 2023, so 2 years later. So maybe people don't discuss a game for 2 years before it's out.
Yeah, but I think at the time, and I don't know if we talked about this publicly, but it's not like kind of a secret or kind of a huge surprise. But as you know, in game development, usually you expect your game to release at a certain point of time, and it gets delayed for plenty of reasons. Obviously, it was our first game, so at first, it was supposed to be a bit smaller. We were supposed to self-publish it. And so when I joined the company, we were supposed to release the game in the months after, so kind of a few months after. So I had really a small amount of time to market the game, communicate, build all the social media strategy. And at the time, it was maybe not the perfect strategy, but it was coherent to launch the Discord, because we were supposed to launch kind of 6 months later. So 6 months compared to 2 years, obviously looking back, it doesn't make sense because obviously for a small indie studio, we don't have enough activity and playtest and betas and just news to share our interesting stuff to have an active Discord for 2 years long. It's just enormous. So now it does not make sense, but at the time it was a bit more relevant. Even though I think there is an interesting discussion to have here, it's just how you maintain kind of a active discussion on it. And do you have to? Because it's normal at some point to have high activity, low activity, things like that.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to add that a lot of us in homoludens were working on the first game for the first time, if that makes sense. Like it was my first time doing comms for a very first game from a studio, and I think it's the same for you. So we were all it was a learning thing for most of us. Which is why we tried things actually, and some worked, some not so much. But that's how we learn.
Yeah.
And so the thing is with Discord, it has a lot of tools that are very nice to use. Oh, you disappeared. There you are. It's no, it was me. It's sometimes hard to use. You really need to get used to it before you launch anything, and most of the tools are made by outside people. They're not made by Discord. They're just tools that people give away. They make them and give away. You can pay for them or they can be free. And so you have a lot of tools for a lot of things. But the thing is, we didn't really anticipate that we would need that. So we don't have stats for the whole of development. So we only have our stats for the year 2024, which doesn't allow us to know when the growth were, when we had the most activity and such. But what we know is that we have around 600 members for now, and I'm gonna show a graph. If you're are you ready for the graph?
I love data, so I'm always ready for a good graph.
Okay, so you're not on this page because I can only show one camera on that. But so I put some of our competitors' discords. If I can zoom in, yes. And us. So we're on the right. You can see that we have 600. We have 600 members, and these are the competitors for one of our. How do you call it? Like, I know the French word veille, but I don't know the English.
Benchmark, I think.
Yeah, benchmark.
Yeah,
yes.
we look at a lot of different games. Here you have recently released management game that,
Yeah.
if not all super recent, but still interesting games that we look at, for example.
Yeah. And so you can see that we are in the lowest number of members on the Discords. We do have like pretty big games, like Potioncraft is like a lot bigger than Blooming Business, so it's normal that they have more members. So it's like Dave the Diver, but you can also see that I think that the correlation is between like the success of the game and the members. Like Dave the Diver and Potioncraft are two very successful games. I think Traveler's Rest is also.
Yeah, a bit less, but it's still a successful game. I think even, well, there are other very performing titles here that do not have that much members, so maybe it can be linked to their strategy and the effort they put on it, and maybe they are elsewhere more active. But yeah, there is a huge correlation between the sales, obviously, and the number of their member on Discord. What could be interesting for us is to look at Discord for games that are not launched yet, because it's indicative of how their communication strategy works. But it's still interesting because we are comparing it to our released game, which had not the same success at launch, obviously. So it's still comparable figure. But I guess pre-launch as well could be an interesting analysis to make. And here you don't have like the usual suspect, Planet Zoo, 2 Points, like Prison Architect or games like that, because they are so huge and so well established, and with multiple iteration, that I think it does not make sense to compare to this title, because I think they are too big for us.
I also have like another like benchmark here. Okay, let me zoom in. Yeah, so same. I think RimWorld shouldn't have been here because 10,000 is too many people on the Discord. I couldn't deal. You need like 5 community managers for that.
I think what is interesting here is the fact that the figures are really close to each other. I don't know if it makes sense in English, but they are similar kind of
we're closer to the average.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it must depend also on the type of game. Maybe like these are more like space related, and maybe those don't work as well as like pure management. This is just me asking questions. I don't know.
Yeah, I think those are more strategy, different type of game, except for Galactica, which looks like a Blooming Business, but in another setting. It's more like a tycoon, whereas the other ones are kind of a mix of a strategy, colony sim, management games, mix of management and colony sim, and strategy as a whole. So maybe tells something, and maybe it's also linked to similarly to their strategy. I don't know when and how they created their Discord. What is interesting as well is Galactica, which is a recently released game. It's a beautiful sci-fi management game where you build and manage hospital, if I remember correctly, with a humorous tone, and it was just released, I think, last month. And it's interesting to see that they have a very low number of members. But bear in mind that maybe for some games they could have their community on their publisher discords as well, because sometimes the dev has its own Discord and the publisher as well when it's where it's published by another company, and so it can split the community. So maybe it could be that,
I think,
or just
sorry, that was the case for Strange Horticulture. I put 25 because like it's a publisher Discord, and there are only 25 people on the Strange Horticulture page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's very strange. It's not like kind of a joke, but because the game is very successful.
Yeah, but they don't have like their own Discord, and they only have 25 people on the publisher's Discord.
Yeah.
So yeah,
very interesting one.
Strange. And we're gonna look at a last stat. So that's that's what I did on a benchmark on management games on the social media presence. So Discord is in red, so you can see that like for some of them, like it's a big part of their social media presence, but some of them not so much. Like some of them don't even have Discord servers. So that's an interesting stat to look at. I was like, no, sorry, Discord is green, sorry, soft green. Red is Reddit. But you can see like, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 doesn't even have a Discord server. Strange Horticulture, as I said, don't really have one either. So yeah, that's an interesting stat to look at, because I would have thought that everyone would be on Discord, because that was like a must-have for me. But like some people don't put them in their strategies, and that's interesting, I think.
Yeah, well, maybe there are elements that we don't have to fully understand this, but what is interesting in this type of exercise is also to understand when we look at similar title or recently released title in the management genre, that can be very diverse, because you can see Dave the Diver, which is kind of a mix between management but also exploration gameplay, kind of a it's kind of a mix, but what is interesting is just to understand if Discord is still a thing, what is the kind of the size of those community, what type of game do you have on Discord, and if it help us, I think, understand if it makes sense to have a Discord and what we can expect out of it, depending on our strategy, obviously. And I think it's kind of to be able to just evaluate what we do and improve on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you use this kind of analysis on your side.
That was like something to find out where to place ourselves, like what social media do we need to work on according to like other games. And I think like we like Blooming Business Casino is a very like cozy game. It has a cozy vibe, and like the hashtag cozy game on TikTok, for example, like is very, very successful. Like a lot of videos that talk about cozy games have a huge amount of views. But as you can see, like the studios don't really use TikTok as much. I think it's mostly because it takes a lot of time. So that was interesting for me to see that there's like a platform to get, like we could have the big numbers like if we had a strategy on TikTok, which as I said would take time, but yeah, it's something that's not very exploited yet. So yeah, that was mainly like a stats that I looked at to know where we could place ourselves.
I think, as you mentioned, it's also kind of a choice, a strategy to focus on one social media compared to another. I don't see Discord as a social media per se. For me, it's kind of
Yeah.
because it's private, because it's the use and the exposition to content is very different. There is no algorithm per se for discoverability or like engagement. So I think it's a bit different, but kind of a choice to focus on one compared to another. You mentioned TikTok. I think there are very small indie devs that still are active on TikTok, but these are the focus for their strategy. And so for cozy games, it can make sense, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's a subject for another stream. Let's do a stream on TikTok someday.
Yes, of course.
There's a lot to say. So what I wanted to do when we started like thinking about this stream is talk about everything positive and negative that we learned while using Discord for communication and marketing. Maybe we can start by the negative, so we end the stream on a positive note. I don't know if you agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we have some notes that we share. So yeah, one thing I want to talk about is something that happened to us recently. It's bot raids. We had like this raid of like they are bots, but they use the accounts of people who haven't used their account for a while. Like it's a hacked account that joined Discord and communities to like advertise. I don't know if I can say this word. A prawn website. But yeah, so we had a raid that was like very hard to contain. We did finally find a way to make them stop, and so for people who have these kind of problems, the thing that works the most is using @everyone as a ban word. So every time someone other than a mod uses @everyone, they get just banned for a few days. If they want to rejoin, they can, but I think bots won't rejoin, or if they do, they will get rebanned again. So I think that's the best solution so far.
Yeah, you talk about banning. It's kind of funny. I just banned someone in the chat on Twitch because they are sharing a link to promote like ads content, and it was a user for the first time. So I kind of find it funny. Well, please continue.
Oh yeah, so
don't do that. If you're new, just say hi, talk a little bit, and don't promote your thing with external link, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I can manage the options on Twitch so that people can post links. Also, I'll do that. This is the first time it has happened. So, but yeah, that was like the main bad thing that happened. Also, like I don't think it's a very ergonomic tool to use. Like as I said, most of the tools and apps are not made by Discord, and are apps that you have to add. So you have to like, if you have a problem, you have to look for a solution on the internet, find the tool that you can add, learn to use that tool, because like not all of them works the same. So yeah, it's very like time consuming to learn all of this, especially if you're not using it on an everyday basis, which like a lot of people don't. We do in the gaming industry. I mean, like it wasn't my first Discord server. I don't think it was yours either. But yeah, it takes time to learn how to use it, to learn how to like manage it. It can become overwhelming sometimes. I think that's what happened when we had the raids of bots. Like it was very overwhelming, because every time like we did stuff to stop it, they would come back, and that was very frustrating.
Yeah, I think what is difficult to manage is the fact that we are not working full time on it. So obviously day and night, but even in your case, you are working on the mornings. So if you pick up something, you have to see it on the next day, and it can, it can happen a lot of things in the meantime.
Yeah.
So there is that, plus you need to figure out where is the issue and how that's possible. And as we mentioned in the beginning, the Discord server was regularly updated. We added channels, we removed channels, we changed the rule, we experimented on different type of boats. So the parameters and the tools and the rules that we used could be different from one channel to another, and we had to look at each one to make sure it was coherent and that we didn't miss a thing. So I think it demands it demands a lot of time and rigor and to make sure there is no missing things when you manage that. So it can be a bit of a pain to do it, especially when it's not your primary focus, because the community is not that much active now, because the game is already released and we are doing other stuff. We don't expect to have activity on the Discord, so obviously we check from time to time, and we are trying to make sure that we have a good response time. But because we do not expect to have activity and plenty of newcomers joining in, we do not expect to have this kind of raids and bad things to happen. But I think we learned a lot through it. Of course, it's not perfect, the way we manage the Discord and our knowledge of it. But I think you found the solution at the end that worked quite well.
Yeah, it took me some time and some learning curves, but we did it. So that's pretty much the negatives I had on my side. I don't know if you're like, there's something else that you would like to add.
Not necessarily.
I think you're the one who put like how to engage in the list, and it's true that sometimes you like, at some point we had like every Friday a poll that we did, and like it's pretty easy to engage because you just have to click on emotes on the text to answer. And well, it was an easy way to engage, but like it became like quickly very hard to find new subjects, and also like people were less and less participating, of course, because like it was becoming something like every Friday, like you don't necessarily log in every Friday to participate in the game. So yeah, you have to be creative to find ideas to engage with the community, and not just like post dev updates and stuff like that. So yeah,
I think how I see it, so yes, I think you have to think about the engagement strategy per platform. And I think we had a lot of ideas, and as a whole, that could be relevant for the launch, for earlier on the development, or for a specific time. But you have to really think through the whole development process so that you can see if you have enough content and for when this content is relevant and for what platforms. And I think we had ideas, but maybe not enough prepared ideas, and obviously not to occupy a community for 2 years, and it was not supposed to be 2 years again. So obviously it was difficult. Plus, at some point you have plenty of content to animate the community on Discord, and at the beginning not so much. So at the beginning it's just like general question about like the impression about the upcoming game, general stuff about their preferences. Maybe from time to time we could ask questions about specific things and features that we were improving and we were developing. At some point we could leverage the playtests to also engage with the community.
Yeah, we always had like more action when we had playtest sessions.
Yeah, so there were times where it was kind of busy on the Discord. It was never really super busy, but there were busier times, I would say, and other times where it was not. So I think the main learning for me is just to kind of have an engagement strategy per platform and identify like kind of all the ideas that and prepare kind of the frequency on how you can really animate your community if there is no surprises or development delays, things like that. And you have to dedicate your time. And I think sometimes we could have done more, but we just chose or had to do something else as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you have like a big game, you can have like so many people in your Discord that some of the people, like some of the players can become mods on your Discord, so you don't have to be like always looking out for like problems, because they would help you deal with it. But yeah, we're not that successful yet. So yeah, maybe we can talk about the positive sides for now. So there's like the easy points that are the same for every like social media or social platforms that are like you can talk with people, you can like actually have conversations with the players. It really helped us during playtests, because what you did is that you made a big questionnaire, like big survey at the end. But we also had like comments from people on the Discords. We still do actually, like sometimes we like, especially for times when people are stuck in the game or for like bugs, people like to ask either on Steam or Discord, but I think Discord is like it looks a lot more quick, because like you can actually have a back and forth conversation pretty quickly, and you can't really have that on Steam.
Yeah, maybe we can show the KPIs that Discord allows us to see and monitor, just to show that we don't have that much
I'm gonna check
KPIs, but they are still interesting thing. I don't know if you can share, but if you cannot, maybe we can just pick a couple of KPIs from the past months and just share this.
I only have like the quick metrics.
Yeah.
So
I think that's still an interesting stuff to comment. Yeah.
This is between April and June. So as you can see, only 3 new members. Like we don't have any like news or events, so like it's a pretty low moment for now. So 1 new communicator between the 3. So like it means that 3 people joined and one of them had conversation on the Discord. We can see by month. So 3 on April 22, 4 on April 29, 2 on May. So yeah.
I think what is interesting is the fact that we still have new members, even though we don't have that much activity. We updated the game 7 times since the launch, and we try to do new things for each seasonal event. So it's still interesting to see there are people joining in, although the game was not satisfying in terms of sales, and Steam does not really promote us on the store, obviously, because we have disappointing sales and exposition. But yeah, you can see kind of the performances on Discord when you have a 1-year-old game that was not a huge performer. So obviously what would be interesting for us could be to compare with other type of game, depending on their situation, to know what we could expect. I think those figures, it's not very surprising for us.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a little bit disappointing because we would like to have like more activity and engagement and newcomers to chat with, because it's satisfying to see that what we do has an impact. But because of the context of the release of the game, the performances, and the industry trend, we do not have this kind of thing. So you can see with this figure as well that it's kind of expected to not have that much focus on it, and we put our time elsewhere. At least for now, as you mentioned, because we are kind of preparing another stuff, obviously, and we will get back to it once it's relevant.
Yeah, like we talked about it before launching the stream, but what's interesting also that you can track where people find your Discord, I mean. That's pretty interesting. So you can put different links on different platforms, and that will allow you to know where people find your Discord. So like 3 of them joined by these links, 2 by this one, and 1 by this one. So like we don't have enough people joining that can show a big like statistical difference. But I mean, for when we launch another game, for example, it would be very interesting to see where people find Discords, if they find it more on Steam, on Twitter, on Twitch, whatever. So like, yeah, they do give, I mean, the original Discord tools do give you some interesting stats, and I think you can pay for some apps that can give you a bit more, but you have to pay.
Yeah, and I think what we did as well was to publish kind of questions to ask where new members on Discord were coming from. So I asked them if they heard from us from article, from Steam, from Twitter. So if you combine this learning with the links to just see, I mean, what links did they use to join the community, it can give you a good understanding of, I mean, your communication performances at some point, and also, I mean, where it makes sense to display your Discord invites. So for us, it was mostly, I think, Steam, obviously, because on Steam you have the link to join the Discord, and I think that's where we got the most traffic, especially during events, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I think it was influencer, similarly, because they have huge community, and because for paid activation, we asked them to promote the Discord. Obviously, we had new member thanks to it. And then maybe it's social media. So yeah, the social media invites did not perform that much compared to Steam and influencer, but those are still important ones.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the discussion we had about Twitter a while ago, is that it's not the place where you're gonna have like the most engagement, but it's the place you need to be. It's like I don't think there's any like studio that doesn't have Twitter, or at least the publisher. So yeah, and it's not that time consuming, because like it's just typing. I mean, it's not like TikTok where you have to like record something, edit, publish and stuff. But yeah, Discord
Try
also
to leverage the trends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a good watch on the platform. Yeah, for sure.
No. Oh no. But yeah, Discord is kind of like Twitter, where it's just typing, but you need to put a lot more like effort and time, because like you need to also research tools, research ways to entertain your community. And you have like, if you have a very active community, you need to communicate with them. which like we don't at the moment, but there were some periods of time where we had like a lot more activity on the Discord, especially during the playtests. So yeah, that's also time consuming, but for a good like it's a good thing. If you have a lot of people on your Discord, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it reflects, as you mentioned, the performance of your game, combined with the fact that you did kind of push Discord as well, because again, for some game and community, maybe it does not make sense, or they prefer to put their effort elsewhere. So it's kind of a combination between the two. I think even if we had to conclude on Discord, I think even if it was not a very performing strategy or kind of engaged community, it was still very useful just to learn about the Discord strategy and how to operate it. And we had to, I think, in our opinion, to have it, to have particular animation and activity on this. And it was very useful, as you mentioned, for playtests, because it was a way for us to engage in the private channels and to give them instruction and feedback and to help them during that process. So I think we learned a ton, and we have to make a lot of improvement as well. I think we are conscious of it, and maybe we'll see, but we will put more effort into it for the next game that we will be developing.
Yeah, and also it's a platform where it's quality over quantity, like because even if you have a very small community, you can still have like very like engaged players. If people really love your game, which is like something that happened at some point after the EGX 2021, I think, or 2022, I don't remember. Where we had like one player that was like very, very enthusiastic about the game, and like he kept posting, and that would engage other people to post. I think he did like fan arts also, which was very cool. We did have another fan art on Twitter too, but like that's another subject. But I mean, sometimes even if you have a small community, they can like be very active on Discord. So that's also like a very good thing when you're a small studio, to like have a conversation with your players, even if they're not like that many.
Yeah, and I think when I see performing Discord, oftentimes it's also games that were kickstarted and that have this strategy in the core of the way they communicate. It's just building kind of a community, supporting community. Yeah, I can see that there are very high engagement rate on those kind of Discord server, even though the games are very small or even not official yet, meaning without Steam page and so on. And the other type of community that are very active, obviously, are for like very expected upcoming games, or like very like high performers, or games with like kind of multiplayer gameplay, because obviously you have to organize yourself, chat. You have like kind of live ops support that is needed. So it requires to have a permanent discussion with the dev or ways to communicate with them.
That is true. And yeah, also, well, I mean, that was part of the negatives, but it's also part of the positive, is that there's a lot of tools. So once you know what you're looking for and you know how to use them, it's like, it's very cool that there's actually a tool for anything you want. Sometimes you have to pay for it, sometimes not. But I mean, the Discord community overall is very active and very like helping each other. So that's also a very positive side of Discord.
And I think it's interesting, because if I think about my own usage of Discord, I don't so much join Discord for the games I love. if you know what I mean. I don't know about you, but do you join the Discord for the games you have played or you are currently playing?
No. I joined Discord
So,
for like influencers I like, but no.
oh,
not
interesting.
games. Yeah.
So I think it tells a thing about it's very engaged players that join the Discord, because it requires you to manage another kind of social media or like platforms to engage with it. So I think it's really demanding just to use it. So that's why we have a responsibility as well to be there for the ones that did put that effort and to find a proper way to give them a little some things extra about the game, private discussion, things like that.
Yeah. Very well. Do you have anything to add? Like any positive or negative side of Discord that we haven't talked about?
No, I don't think so. I think we did a pretty good wrap up of Discord. I mean, our understanding and our strategy. I think we tried to give you a bit of kind of analysis about it. Obviously, you understood that it was not like the primary focus of our data analysis because of the tools that we have to do it and because of the performances and the strategy we had. But I think it's still interesting to just take the time to look back at what we did and just understand. Even preparing this stream, I think it was a good thing to just
good exercise.
identify, good exercise to identify improvement areas and so on. So I hope it's of interest also to share that publicly.
Yes. Well, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you, Christelle, for joining me on this stream. Thank you to the viewers. This stream will be available on YouTube as soon as possible. I'm not going to give a date. But yeah, you can check all our social media on the description. We're on Twitter, we're on Discord. Did you know?
I think we can put the link for those who don't have the Discord community link. I will put it in the chat.
Yes, there you go. You can join. We're on Instagram, even though we don't really use it anymore. It was more during launch. We're on TikTok. I'm trying to do more TikToks, but it's very time consuming. And well, there you go. I hope you have a great day. Thank you again, and we'll see you on the next stream. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.